I think it is clear to believe in the power of ideas.
Fresh thinking to the Manhattan Institute.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, Larry, a little known fact is back when I was in Arizona at the Department of Transportation there, this was in the mid to late 1980s, I thought, you know, a toll road would really help us get some more revenue here in Arizona and possibly expand some of our opportunities in a high-growth state. And I probably should have just gone and slammed the door on my head instead of having that idea, because that's about how effective I was at that point in time. But it was the birth of an idea back then, and one that they're finally now coming back around to, even in my home state. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. I feel like I'm probably the most unqualified person in this room as I look around and see the expertise, Larry, that you have assembled here today at the Manhattan Institute and the good topics that you've had for discussion this morning. So I'd like to share a few of my ideas with you, but then engage in some question-answer discussion a little bit so that I can benefit from all of your knowledge as well. And to talk about where we might go in the future in terms of financing for infrastructure, and really the topic of your session here today, what is the private role in public infrastructure? I think that there's a tremendous opportunity for that role, and look forward to our discussion, learning more about it. This organization, the Manhattan Institute, has done so much to advance policy in areas like welfare reform, education, public safety, putting the intellectual capital of this organization and those who are part of it to work on some of the most important issues that America has faced and will face in the future, and having all of that energy and all of your energy put forward to talking about infrastructure issues is something that I am just delighted to have the opportunity to be part of this afternoon. Your leadership, the discussions that you have today and where we go in the future with these discussions is going to be pivotal in making sure that the United States completes the transition to a 21st century transportation system, or whether or not we stay mired back in the 20th century. It will make the difference about whether or not we can keep New York and our country competitive in the global marketplace in which we compete, whether we can keep our people mobile, whether our infrastructure is in good working order, or we're constantly scrambling to fix things because we can't afford to repair or replace them the way we should. We're living with the result today of depending for too long on 20th century solutions. New Yorkers, for example, are dealing every day with aviation delays, lengthening daily commutes, and growing gridlock that makes taking a trip across Manhattan about as predictable as predicting the next Top Chef. And like Wall Street itself, we're battling a crisis of confidence in transportation. Every year, Americans routinely reject new taxes and new debt for transportation projects. It is, in my opinion, a crisis of consumer confidence, a crisis of investor confidence, because it's not that they don't want better commutes. It's not that they don't want better transportation infrastructure and less delays. They have no confidence in the public sector's ability and the government's ability to deliver different or better results. They know that the current system is failing them badly, and they for no reason want to put any more money into that, even though they do want solutions. But there are roads, there are solutions, and there are areas where it's working very well in the United States today. California's Highway 91 in Orange County. Have any of you had a chance to go out there and see that road? I went early on, and this people were calling it the Lexus lanes. Do you remember that back then? The Lexus lanes. And it was the day I wish I had a camera, a Kodak moment. Sitting stuck in traffic was a Rolls Royce. I'm not kidding, a Rolls Royce. And zipping along was like a Geo Metro, something like that was zipping along in the priced lanes. And it really told me that these roads can work. I was also early on under the impression that 10% of the people who use that corridor would use it 90% of the time. In fact, the opposite is true. 90% of the people use it 10% of the time. They use it when they need to get where they're going and get there on time. And it is working today to keep traffic congestion down, to keep that road flowing, to give people reliability and predictability in terms of their commutes. And there are cities like Chicago, John, great work that you all are doing in Chicago, Minneapolis, Miami, that are relieving stubborn bottlenecks almost overnight without building a single new mile of roadway. Thanks to sensor technology or hot lanes or even parking meters and lots, We're able to use the power of pricing to deliver faster commutes, better transit, and cleaner air, and we are able to do that today. There are states like Indiana, Florida, and Texas that are funding ambitious new infrastructure programs today without raising gas taxes, without going to Congress and asking for a single earmark. They're moving forward. Instead,